When I was 11 years old, I accidentally recorded my own uncle sneaking into our house with plumbing tools moments before a gas explosion nearly killed my entire family. And that footage would eventually send him to prison for attempted murder. I'm Nikita, and this story takes me back to September 15th, 2019, in our quiet neighborhood in Riverside, California. I was just a kid who loved making TikTok videos of my dance routines in our backyard, dreaming of going viral like all the other kids at Roosevelt Middle School. Our house on Maple Street was nothing fancy, a two-story rental with peeling paint and a chain-link fence. But it was home to me, my parents David and Maria, and my two younger siblings, 8-year-old Carlos and 6-year-old Sophia. That Saturday started like any other weekend. Mom was doing laundry, Dad was watching college football, and my siblings were playing video games in the living room. I'd been working on this new dance routine for weeks, something I'd choreographed myself to a Billie Eilish song, and I finally felt ready to record it. The lighting in our backyard was perfect around 3 p.m., with the sun filtering through our neighbor's oak tree just right. I set up my phone against the fence post, hit record, and started dancing. I was maybe 30 seconds into the routine when I heard this weird hissing sound coming from inside the house. I stopped dancing and looked toward our kitchen window, but I couldn't see anything unusual. The hissing got louder, and I was walking toward the back door when the world exploded. The blast knocked me flat on my back, and I felt my phone go flying somewhere behind me. My ears were ringing so loud I couldn't hear anything else, and when I opened my eyes, our kitchen window was gone and flames were already climbing up the back wall of our house. Black smoke was pouring out of every opening, and I could smell this awful chemical smell mixed with burning wood. I started screaming for my family, but I couldn't even hear my own voice over the ringing in my ears. I ran toward the house, but the heat hit me like a wall and I couldn't get close. I was 11 years old, covered in scrapes from the concrete, watching my home burn with everyone I loved trapped inside. The fire department got there in what felt like hours, but was probably only 8 minutes. I watched them smash through our front door with axes, disappearing into that black smoke while I stood in our neighbor Mrs. Chen's arms, both of us crying and praying. When they finally brought my family out on stretchers, all of them were unconscious and covered in burns, but they were breathing. The next 3 weeks were the longest of my life. Mom had second-degree burns on her arms and face. Dad's back was badly burned from trying to shield Sophia when he realized what was happening. Carlos had burns on his legs, and Sophia had smoke inhalation damage that kept her in the ICU for 10 days. I spent every day at Riverside Community Hospital, sleeping in waiting room chairs and eating vending machine food. The fire investigators said it was a gas leak explosion, probably caused by faulty plumbing work. They couldn't determine exactly what had caused the leak, just that our kitchen gas line had been compromised and the gas had built up until something ignited it. Our insurance covered the medical bills, but our house was completely destroyed. We lost everything except the clothes we were wearing that day. When my family was finally released from the hospital in early October, we moved in with my grandmother Rosa in her little house in Morno Valley. Grandma Rosa was Dad's mother, and she'd been begging us to live with her for years because she was getting older and lonely. Now we didn't have a choice. It was crowded, 5 people in a 2-bedroom house, but Grandma Rosa made it work. She gave up her bedroom for my parents and slept on the living room couch, while Carlos, Sophia, and I shared the second bedroom. Everyone was healing slowly, and the doctors said we were incredibly lucky that no one had died or suffered permanent disability. About 2 weeks after we moved in with Grandma Rosa, I was going through my phone trying to delete old videos to make space when I found the dance video from that day. I'd completely forgotten about it in all the chaos of the hospital and moving. My phone had survived the explosion somehow, probably because it landed in our neighbor's yard when the blast threw it. I almost deleted the video without watching it, but something made me curious about what I'd actually captured. I opened it up, expecting to see 30 seconds of me dancing before the explosion cut it off. But that's not what I saw. The video started with me setting up the shot, and in the background, you could clearly see our back door. About 15 seconds into the recording, right when I started dancing, a figure in a black baseball cap and dark clothing appeared at the edge of the frame. He was carrying what looked like a toolbox, and he went straight to our back door, opened it with a key, and disappeared inside our house. I paused the video, my heart racing. Who had a key to our house? Why were they going in while we were home? And why were they carrying tools? I rewound and watched it again. The person was wearing a cap pulled low, but something about the way he walked was familiar. I knew that walk, that posture, that particular way of carrying a toolbox. It was my Uncle Ray. Uncle Ray was Dad's younger brother, a plumber who lived about 20 minutes away in Morno Valley. He'd done work on our house before, fixed our bathroom sink a few months earlier, replaced some pipes under our kitchen the previous year. He definitely had a key to our house because Dad had given him one when he was doing regular maintenance work for us. But why was he sneaking into our house on a Saturday afternoon when he knew we were home? And why didn't he knock or call out to let us know he was there? I kept watching the video. You could see Uncle Ray come back out of our house about 3 minutes later, still carrying his toolbox, moving quickly toward the back fence. He disappeared from view, and about 30 seconds after that, you could hear the hissing sound that made me stop dancing. Then came the explosion, and the video went black. My hands were shaking as I watched it a fourth time, a fifth time, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Uncle Ray had been in our house with plumbing tools just minutes before a gas line explosion that nearly killed my entire family. That couldn't be a coincidence. But why would Uncle Ray want to hurt us? Dad and Ray had always gotten along great. Ray came to family barbecues, remembered everyone's birthdays, helped Dad with home improvement projects. He was the fun uncle who taught Carlos how to throw a curveball and always brought Sophia little presents when he visited. Unless there was something I didn't know about. I spent the next 3 days obsessing over that video, watching it over and over, trying to find some innocent explanation for what I'd seen. Maybe Ray had come to fix something and didn't want to bother us. Maybe Dad had asked him to check on something and forgotten to mention it. But the more I watched, the more convinced I became that something was very wrong. Ray's body language wasn't casual or innocent. He was moving like someone who didn't want to be seen, like someone doing something they shouldn't be doing. Finally, I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. On a Thursday evening, when my parents were sitting on Grandma Rosa's back porch talking quietly while my siblings watched TV inside, I approached them with my phone in my hand. "Mom, Dad," I said, my voice shaking, "I need to show you something." They could tell from my tone that it was serious. Dad muted the football game, and they both looked at me with concern. "What is it, Mija?" Mom asked. I sat down between them and opened the video on my phone. This is from that day, the day of the explosion. I was making a dance video, and I accidentally recorded something else. I handed them the phone and watched their faces as they saw what I'd seen. At first, they looked confused, then shocked, then horrified as they realized what they were watching. "Is that?" Mom whispered. "Ray," Dad finished, his voice hard. "That's Ray going into our house." We watched the video 3 times together. Dad's jaw got tighter each time, and Mom started crying when she realized the implications. "He tried to kill us," she said quietly. "Your own brother tried to kill us." Dad was quiet for a long time, just staring at the phone screen. Finally, he looked at me with this expression I'd never seen before, proud and sad and angry all at once. "Nikita, you just saved our family," he said. "This video is evidence of attempted murder." The next morning, Dad called the police. Detective Martinez came to Grandma Rosa's house and watched the video on my phone while taking detailed notes. She asked me questions about Uncle Ray, about his access to our house, about the timing of everything that day. "This is definitely evidence of criminal activity," Detective Martinez said. "We'll need to get a warrant and bring Ray in for questioning." It took 2 weeks for the police to build their case. They analyzed the video with their tech team, confirming the timestamps and the identity of the person in the footage. They interviewed the fire investigators again, re-examining the evidence from the explosion. They looked into Uncle Ray's financial situation and discovered he was in serious debt from gambling and had been stealing money from his plumbing clients. The theory they developed was that Uncle Ray had deliberately caused the gas leak, hoping to kill our family and inherit our life insurance money as Dad's only remaining relative. Dad had a $200,000 life insurance policy through his job, and if all of us died, Ray would have been the beneficiary. What Ray hadn't counted on was that I'd be outside making a video when he came to sabotage our gas line. On November 3rd, 2019, Uncle Ray was arrested at his house and charged with 4 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of arson, and 1 count of criminal endangerment. The video I'd accidentally recorded was the key evidence that made the charges stick. The trial lasted 6 months. I had to testify about the video and what I'd seen that day, which was terrifying but also empowering. Standing in that courtroom, telling the judge and jury how my uncle had tried to murder my family, I felt like I was protecting my siblings and parents in a way I couldn't on the day of the explosion. Ray's defense attorney tried to claim it was all a coincidence, that Ray had come to fix something and the explosion was just bad timing. But the video was too clear, the timing too precise, and the forensic evidence too damning. The prosecution proved that Ray had deliberately damaged our gas line in a way designed to cause a delayed explosion. In March 2020, Uncle Ray was convicted on all counts and sentenced to 25 years in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge called it one of the most callous and calculated attempts at family annihilation she'd ever seen. Justice felt good, but it didn't erase the trauma of what had happened to us. My parents and siblings still have scars from their burns, and we all went through therapy to deal with the psychological impact of surviving an attempted murder by someone we trusted and loved. Today, we live in a new house in Corona, California, about an hour from where we used to live. Dad got a promotion at work, partly because his company was so impressed by how he handled the crisis and recovery. Mom went back to school and became a social worker specializing in helping families who have experienced trauma. Carlos and Sophia are both healthy and happy, though Sophia still has nightmares sometimes about the smoke and fire. I'm 16 now and still love making videos, but I'm much more aware of what my camera might capture. That accidental recording saved my family's life and brought a would-be killer to justice. The most important thing I learned from this experience is that evil can come from the people you least suspect, even family members you love and trust. But I also learned that truth has a way of revealing itself, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. My dance video never did go viral, but the evidence it provided sent an attempted murderer to prison for the rest of his life. Some videos are more important than views and likes. Here's what this experience taught me. First, always trust your instincts when something feels wrong, even if you can't explain why. Second, technology can be your ally in seeking justice. That phone recording was the difference between Ray walking free and going to prison. Third, family isn't just about blood relations. It's about people who would never deliberately hurt you. Uncle Ray thought he was smart enough to commit the perfect family murder, but he forgot that cameras are everywhere now, and truth has a way of surviving even the most carefully planned deceptions. If this story resonated with you, share your own story in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you in the next video.